Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing a TBR jar video. If you don't know what this is, basically in this jar I have a bunch of different prompts that will lead me to choose my next couple of books for the month of July. I have prompts in here regarding the genre, the book itself, like the cover, prompts about the author. I have all sorts of different kinds of prompts in here. Last month I chose 3 books. I ended up choosing a romantasy book, which I went with These Hollow Vows, and I did read that and I did enjoy it. I went with a book based in the 1900s, I believe, and that one I chose My Best Friend's Exorcism by Grady Hendrix, and I also enjoyed that book. And my last pick was thriller. I don't remember what my actual prompt was, but I ended up choosing The Guest List by Lucy Foley, and I also enjoyed that book. Turns out I enjoy the books that I own. Shocking revelation. Today I'm going to go ahead and choose 3 more books again. I am currently reading the Mistborn books. I'm about halfway through book 1, and I do plan on continuing the series this month, so my confidence in being able to complete these 3 books is not very high, especially if I end up choosing something that's quite large, or if it's a series. So I'm kind of hoping I get like a short story, a novella, standalone books, something like that is kind of my goal for today. All right, let's get started with prompt number 1. Prompt number 1 is: cover has an animal on it. A cover with an animal. I have a bunch of covers with cats on them, so let me grab a couple of covers that I think will fit this, and I will be right back. Okay, I am back, and I actually brought quite a few books with me. So the first 3 I chose because they are all Japanese translated works about cats with cats on the cover. I actually have an idea for another video where I read a bunch of Japanese books about cats, since this seems to be a very common theme in Japanese literature, and I review and do a vlog and all of that. So I could get started on that video with these 3 books: If Cats Disappeared from the World, The Cat Who Saved Books, and She and Her Cat. I could get started on that video and choose one of these books to read, or just a standalone I've had for a while. I could read A Man Called Ove. I'm not sure how I'm supposed to pronounce it, and he does have a little cat at his feet in this cover. I have read Beartown by Frederick Backman, and I did really enjoy that series. Actually, I didn't read the last book, but I did read the first 2, and I did like both of those. And I've heard that this is horrible, like in the sense that you will just sob and cry like a baby, and I don't know if I'm in the mood for that right now. So I think instead I will go with my Japanese works. In particular, I will start with If Cats Disappeared from the World. I did start this book actually in 2022. Got halfway through it, stopped, and I never went back. I'll read the blurb. What would you sacrifice for an extra day of life? The devil picked that moment to announce in his usual cheerful manner the next item he'd make disappear. I couldn't think about anything anymore, so I said yes just like that. At that point, the thought that it could happen to my cat Cabbage had never crossed my mind. So it's about a man who gets diagnosed with cancer, and the devil shows up and offers him a deal that if he trades things that exist in the world, makes them disappear forever, he can gain 1 more day of life. The issue is he does not get to choose. So if I remember correctly, the day 1 was like cell phones. Something that's kind of inconvenient, but overall, you know, getting rid of it is helpful in some ways, harmful in others, and it kind of goes on from there and helps him like remember his life and with his loved ones and things like that. It's a story about grief mostly, and like processing your life and the life that you lived. I think my first pick is going to be If Cats Disappeared from the World by Genki Kawamura. Next prompt. The next prompt is YA. Definitely have got some YA books up on my shelves. Okay, I'll pick some YAs and I'll come back in a second. Okay, I'm back. I grabbed 2 books for this prompt. First, I grabbed So This Is Love by Elizabeth Lim. This is a retelling of Cinderella, like the official Disney story retelling. I've had this on my shelf forever. I love a retelling. Doesn't matter what it is. Any sort of folklore, movie, genre, anything, it doesn't matter. I love a retelling. So I've had this for years. On my shelf. And it looks quite thick, but it's like 400 pages, but the text is quite easy to read. I have read one other book from this like series. I read Go the Distance, which was the Hercules version. I got through that in like a couple of hours. It's a very, very quick read. So let me read you the blurb on the back. What if Cinderella never tried on the glass slipper? Unable to prove that she's the missing princess and unable to bear life under Lady Tremaine any longer, Cinderella starts working at the palace as a seamstress. However, when Cinderella finds herself witness to a grand conspiracy to take the king and the prince out of power, she is faced with questions of love and loyalty to the kingdom. Cinderella must find a way to stop the villains of past and present before it's too late. I think that sounds very interesting. This is option 1. Next, I grabbed The Prisoner's Throne by Holly Black. This is a continuation of the Folk of the Air series, which is The Cruel Prince, Stolen Heir, and then this one, Prisoner's Throne. And I did read Stolen Heir this year, and I did enjoy it, besides the fact that I did not remember anything from Cruel Prince. Although Stolen Heir was a pretty quick read, and I do think I could get through this pretty quickly, I just don't know if I really want to continue a series at the moment. I mean, I'm already doing Mistborn this month, so I think I'm leaning away from Prisoner's Throne. Just based on that, I will go with So This Is Love by Elizabeth Lim, the Cinderella retelling. Let's get one more prompt. Last prompt is horror. Okay, I read a horror book last month. I actually read 2 horrors last month. I'm currently reading a horror arc at the moment, so let me grab one off of my shelves. I have quite a few horrors that I could grab that I just have not touched, but I think I already see which one I'm going to end up choosing. I'm not even bringing options this time. I'm going to do Tender as the Flesh. I have quite a few horror books that I haven't read from my shelves, but a lot of them are pretty big or books I'm unsure of at the moment. And I have actually a lot more thrillers than I do horror on my shelf. I do have a couple other horror on that shelf as well as on the shelf behind me, but a lot of them are quite big. It's short. It's been on my shelf for literally years. I think it's time to just get through this book. If I do end up finishing this, maybe I'll grab another one and try to get through that as well, but Tender as the Flesh is the choice. If you don't know what Tender as the Flesh is about, it is about a man who works at a meat packing plant, and the meat that he prepares is human. So this society farms a sort of like race or species of human that is like essentially like a cow. I don't know, I've heard that it is very gruesome, very gross, body horror, all of that. It's just time for me to get to this book. I have got my 3 books for this month. I got exactly what I wanted. I got quick, short reads, small books. If I don't get through these, I will be very disappointed and surprised. I would be very shocked if I didn't get through these. So one more time. First, I got Cover with an Animal on it, and I chose If Cats Disappeared from the World by Genki Kawamura. Next, I picked YA, and I got So This Is Love by Elizabeth Lim. And last, I got Tender as the Flesh by Agustina Bazterica. I'm very sorry, I'm not good at pronouncing things. Those are my 3 books for this month, alongside the Mistborn series. Alongside Mistborn, these are my books for the month of July in 2025. That is all for today, so thank you very much for hanging out with me. If you've read any of these books, please let me know your thoughts and opinions. If you have any more books that would fit the Japanese translated works with a cat, please let me know. I have those 3, but if you know any others, I would absolutely love to include them. And that will be all for today, so thank you very much for hanging out with me. Bye-bye.